Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Travel can be expensive, and last-minute travel can be even more expensive. You'd be surprised, especially if you've never had to travel at the last minute, and if you have, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a major pain in the pocketbook. Not easy and not cheap. I'm sitting here in Des Moines, Iowa at my brother's house. I had to travel here to the city at the last minute, and I had to change travel plans that were already in place at the last minute, change it to something completely different. It was costly, and it wasn't a lot of fun, but I do have 5 tips that I wrote down in this experience to hopefully save you some money if you ever have to book last-minute travel. First one, and you should do this anyway when you're booking travel or arranging any kind of travel expenses. Search every website that you know of. Like, don't just go to one website. It just strikes me as odd that someone says, well, I only go to this one website. That's crazy, because even if it's a comparison website, you can go to another comparison website and find different fares that may be the same, maybe cheaper. Even if they're pulling from the same data, you never really know where you're going to find the cheapest rate, especially for last-minute travel. Number 2, let them choose the times if you're flexible. This is a big tip, because this could spell the difference between $1,000 and $300. Ask me how I know. Well, I'm assuming you're asking in your head. I know this because this is exactly what Ponzi did when he booked the last-minute travel, and literally saying, well, whatever times you think are going to be good, we were flexible. It saved us $600, or well, $700 in travel expenses at the last minute. That big of a difference. So if you can be flexible with your schedule in a general sense, just see what they've got. I mean, this is one of the big things that made Priceline famous, is that you could just say, well, I'm open to anything, and you could get really cheap seats. Number 3, make more connecting flights if you need to. I mean, most people just like to fly direct. I mean, hey, even I do. But if it spelled the difference between hundreds and hundreds of dollars in savings or more, then yeah, I'll make a couple of connections if I need to. Flying to Des Moines from Seattle, there's always going to be a connection. Usually flying to Des Moines from anywhere, unless it's nearby, there's going to be a connection. But if it came down to it, I certainly would have taken more connections. I only had one, thankfully, this time in Chicago. But I would have taken more connections to save money. So keep that in mind. More connections could save you even more money. Number 4, call the airline's hotline. They may know of something. They may have some kind of special rate for you. I know that it's possible to get a discount on last-minute travel if you've had a death in the family or some kind of circumstance like that. In many cases, they'll ask you to call in for that. Ponzi and I were already preparing to travel somewhere else this weekend, and so not only did I have to book last-minute travel to Des Moines, but we had to cancel the other trip. And so we called up that airline, and I said they're not going to refund it because we already checked into the airport. I was just like, it was very costly. I'm like, there's no way we're getting this back. Well, we called up, and Ponzi very calmly said, this is what's happening. We've got, we want to fly to Des Moines. She wasn't able to make it. That, again, saved us some money. She wasn't able to make the trip to Des Moines as she would have to this other place, but she just explained it calmly, and they said, okay, well, there will be a $75 fee. This is Alaska Airlines, by the way. I got to give them credit. A $75 fee, but they're crediting the other cost directly to our next flights on Alaska Airlines. And we do fly Alaska quite frequently, what with being in Seattle and all. And, generally speaking, Alaska Airlines is just fine. I don't really have any major complaints, more than I would any other airline. But the fact that they did not, require us or force us to pay that full amount, I got to tell you, I don't know if I'm assuming that's their policy. That's a great policy. I'll pay the $75 to get that other money back, because I understand, another person couldn't get the seat and they had to change their plans. That's fine. It's the cost of, quote-unquote, doing business, that fee. It's a given. But the fact that they gave us back the rest of it, I don't know if we could have gotten through that form on the website. You don't really get that personal connection, and for that, I'm very grateful that they were receptive, and that the person who helped us facilitate that, no hassle, no talking to somebody else, they just took care of the situation. Wonderful job. Just a great example of customer service that I would like to expect, and I hope that future dealings with that airline or other airlines are just as positive. Number 5, And this was almost a possibility too, since I knew my connecting flight would have been somewhere in the Midwest, whether it would have been Minnesota, Omaha, Kansas, or Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago. My tip is check nearby airports and then drive the remainder. If it had been an issue where I could get to one of those connecting points, but then the next connecting point would have been way more expensive, I would have gone to that point, rented a car, driven it to the other location. Like, from each point, I mean, Des Moines is pretty much in the center. I mean, it's the crossroads between I-35 and I-80. I would have driven 5 hours to save, hundreds, if not, 1,000 or some odd dollars. That wouldn't even enter my mind. So consider that. Find a nearby airport. Even if your destination city, your ultimate city, isn't that nearby, if it's like a 5 to 6 hour drive and you can afford the time, take it, because you can save a lot of money by doing that, and be minorly inconvenienced. But would you rather be inconvenienced that way or in your pocketbook, especially when it comes to last minute travel? So those are just some things that fluttered through my head as I was going through that experience, and I'm happy to be in Des Moines now. Happy to be able to still live stream. My email address is chris@pirillo.com if you have any other travel tips, especially in relation to dealing with travel and the web. I realize that surfing the World Wide Web is pretty much instantaneous no matter where you are. And speaking of, I'm still live streaming, as I said a couple of seconds ago, but even here, I've got a connection up to the internet and I'm able to do this. I normally stream, all the time, no matter where I'm at. Like 24 hours a day, you can stop by our chat room. You may meet someone I'm with. You may know where I am when I introduce you to people I'm with or where I'm at. I'm sitting right in front of one of my brother's paintings that he has up for sale. He's an amazing artist. And I'm not saying that just because he's my brother. I mean, look at that thing. It was inspired by a song. He told me the name of the song, but I guess I recorded that in another video. I forgot. He's really into music. Obviously, not only did he get the artistic gene, he also got the looks in the family. This is when he thinks of me, this is what he paints. Green faces with French fry hair. I kid you not. That's not what he sees. Someone saw him on the stream earlier and said, "Why are there two Chris Pirillos on the stream?" But he got the looks in the family. I didn't, and I have to compensate by doing other things. Mommy and Daddy didn't love me as a child, so I ended up doing videos on YouTube, after I moved out of their basement last week. Shut up. Sorry. Anyway, streaming live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, typically talking tech at live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.